Y'all, Leslie crazy. Oh, Lord. Okay. How many of you in the listening audience get embarrassed for people? You know, they call it secondhand embarrassment. I've always been this way since I was a child. Even though this show is a fictional show, these people were really singing today. The guy who plays Noah, Patricia Mann, Grant, our Leslie. And I'm sorry, even before they started to open their mouth, I was already like, oh my gosh, I don't think I can watch it. I don't think I can watch it. I barely made it through both performances, shall we say. But y'all, I'm telling you, today was a singing day. Miss Anita started out. Well, she didn't do it just like that. But you know, when they tell you to, what is it called? All my singers, you go, I forget what it's really called. But anyway, child, let me get to this. Y'all know I like to have fun and act a little bit of a fool. Y'all, I want Marcel back. Can't nobody tell me that a man who is almost 70 years old, who is that fine, okay? He works out. He is fine. Ladies, he has no stomach. Okay. I'm like, whoa. This right here is looking at Daryl Handy, who plays our Marcel. This is what it means to age gracefully as a man and to truly be like a fine bottle of wine. He's handsome. His skin is gorgeous. He's got a beautiful smile. His hair is nice. You can tell he takes care of himself. You know, they say our bodies are a temple, and he definitely appears to really love himself. How do we know when people really love themselves? We can look at them. And sure, we all go through different things, and it doesn't necessarily mean we don't love ourselves. But there is a level you can get to where you really begin to see your body as a temple. It's not just the representation of you, it's the representation of God. You know, we have this treasure in an earthen vessel. And so I'm telling you, I love the way that man looks. He's so handsome. But anyway, girl, let me get started. So let's just get on Ted. Somebody tell me right dog it now. Why is Ted still at the Bowman? Why is Ted? Listen, Kat got a condo. Why don't Ted go get a condo? We ain't seen Kat's condo yet, and yet she got one. All they got to do is write it in. I'm like, y'all, if they don't get Ted out the Bowman, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. Well, we got to see Monica today, which was nice. What is going on with Naomi? Y'all, how come Naomi is saying that Grayson and Ashley are her best friends now, and she loves them? I'm like, you know what? I can't. I refuse to. I'm sorry, y'all. I really don't want Jordy on our show. I don't really know what it is about him. I don't. But I'm going to tell you something. I would not be surprised if within the next 2 to 3 weeks we hear that he may be pulling rank or something on set. There's just something there. And I'm always good with these things. And I'm telling you, something ain't right. Okay. And I know he's playing a character, but I'm not talking about his character right now. I'm talking about the main that we see on the screen. So anyway, so let's go ahead and start, y'all, with Vernon and Anita. They're at home, and Anita is playing on the piano, la 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 la, do 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 do, and she's doing all of that. And of course, her voice is still strained because of her chemo treatments or her radiation and all those things. And she, gets a little bit frustrated. And in comes Vernon, and she says to him, "So, how was your day at consulting firm?" Y'all know Vernon's still over here working, girl, working. And he kisses her and greets her, and they just get caught up to speed. And y'all, guess what? Vernon want to go make love, girl. Vernon want to go get in the bed. I have to say, there are so many different things I love about our show Beyond the Gates, but this is one of them. I love how they champion and promote the sex life of older couples, because I think I learned this about 30 years ago. I can't remember, but I don't know why, but I always thought that when we all, men and women, we got a certain age, I don't know, we just wouldn't have sex anymore. No one ever said that to me. I never read it. I never saw it anywhere. It was just something I assumed until I met this lady who was in her late 70s once. And she was telling me how, she, let's just put it this way, she got busy on a regular, okay? And I was like, wait, what? And then, okay, as life has gone on, I have met many older women, even one who was 80. She told me her and her boyfriend get it in on a regular. I'm like, oh my God. And I asked, because we had that kind of relationship, I asked her, well, does he have to use, she was like, nope, he ready. You know what I'm talking about? I'm like, oh, and actually that was something too I learned from these older women, that when men take care of themselves and they don't have diabetes and high blood pressure and all these things that impact a man's ability to get and keep an erection, that you can have a fulfilling sex life until basically you die. And I'm like, OMG, so I will just say that a lot of us are looking forward to that with our partners. But child, Vernon trying to get in the bed, girl, okay? And Anita's like, her phone rings and she's like, it's our eldest. He's like, let it go to voicemail. But y'all, they've got to go to this thing. Noah's playing. He was supposed to be playing up at the Uptowns, but not at the bar, but at that live, that open mic night. So they take us to Nicole's house, okay, where Nicole and Kyle are there, and she's just getting dressed, asking him to help her zip up her dress when, they're talking about Noah's performance and how excited Kyle is and all this kind of a thing. And then they take us to Deanna and Noah, and they're coming out of Uptown. And guess what, y'all? Noah is a do for nothing, okay? How come Noah knew what time he needed to sign up for the open mic and he missed it? He was late. How come Noah didn't tune his guitar? Listen, I could go on and on about how come Noah didn't do this, that, and something else. But anyway, so he's like, dang it, all the spots were taken. And he's like, maybe it's a sign from the universe that I just need to give up on music and just remain the manager at the free clinic. And Deanna says, well, it could, or maybe the message from the universe is show up on time, show up early next time, show up on time rather. And he's like, yeah. And so they take us back to Kyle and Nicole, where Nicole hears the bad news because, Noah has called or texted or whatever and told his dad. And, she suggests that, why don't we just have a little something here at the house? And y'all, I thought that was a fabulous idea. So Nicole contacts various ones in the family. Now, Danny and Andre were supposed to be there, but, she changed. Danny canceled because she wanted to spend time with Andre. So we eventually have Vanessa, Deanna, Noah, Vernon and Anita, and Kyle and Nicole at her home, okay? But let's go, y'all, to Vanessa and Joey. Before Vanessa went over to Nicole's, she was at the casino kissing and going on. So are you going to get ready to go with me? And he's like, go where, girl? She's like, over to Uptown to see Noah. And he's like, you know what? And so they make a joke and she says, you know what? I know how you are. So I only RSVP'd for one. And she just tells him how into Noah Deanna is, and that basically she would go anywhere to hear even someone sing about the phone book, only if it meant she could be and spend time with Deanna. I'm glad that they have, even though we know Deanna is putting on a front in regards to accepting Joey, I am glad that the writers have turned this around and that Deanna and her mom are, getting closer. I think even though Deanna only was pretending to want to get close to her mom so that she could, draw her attention away from Joey, which is what Doug told her in the spirit. In the spirit, y'all know he shows up in the spirit. I think she is actually slipping into actually getting to enjoy being with her mom. But every now and again, y'all know Deanna may, get a look on her face, right? So Vanessa leaves and we see Isaiah come in. I didn't quite understand what Isaiah was doing today. I'm like, he comes over there and he's like, hey, hey, and Joey's like, what? Hey, what? Basically, what do I owe this honor to, and all that kind of a thing. And, Isaiah makes a joke that they now refer to Joey as the gambling Buddha. And Joey like, they can call me whatever as long as the house keep winning, okay? But y'all, Isaiah tells him he comes over there to talk about the old days and how you saved my life. But y'all, Have we not seen this conversation multiple times? That's why, I don't know, like, I understand. Okay, so there are two things for me, okay, in my viewer experience. First, I definitely understand that Joey saved his life and he's basically, he loves that. But today, I didn't see the purpose of the conversation, if that makes sense. Now, in times past, I saw the purpose, right? They were telling us certain things. But all this today about, snatching whips and whatnot, we already heard all this. So I understand that soaps are written in a repetitive fashion where they rehearse prior events because you can dip in and out of a soap at any time and come back and fully be caught up. But still, though, the dialogue needs to have a purpose, in my opinion. And I'm like, okay, this is what I call a filler scene, where there was no purpose in it. It didn't do nothing. It didn't add nothing to today's show. It just was, there to fill in space. And so anyway, so they go through all of that. And, I will say that Joey has always professed, been affectionate in his verbiage toward Isaiah. But today he tells him, I saw it myself in you, when Isaiah asked him, which again, Joey said some of this stuff before. He just used different words. But he said to him, why did you basically take such an interest in me? And Joey says, I saw myself in you. He talks about his father. And again, we've heard all this too, how his father was overbearing. He could never do anything right. And he said basically the same way Elon was. And he tells him that it wasn't just that, because he never had kids and all this kind of thing, but he sees him as his legacy. And he's like, what do you mean? And he was like, when I die, it won't just be that I had a sketchy, reputation, but I did do some good in this world. And everything I learned in my life, it lives on through you. I have to say, I absolutely loved that line, because there are tons and tons of men and women who chose not to have children or couldn't have children, but they did parent in some way. And when they die, everything they learn does live on through the individual. So I thought that was just beautiful. Well, basically everyone that I told you about, and you've already seen the show, of course, they show up at Nicole's. And y'all, Deanna gives Noah a gift. I had to look this up because I don't know anything about, I do know a little bit about guitars, but I'd never heard of a capo. But it basically just shortens the strings, which makes the music sound higher. But I was thinking back on a lot of the live music performances we've gone to, and I was like, I don't think I've ever seen one on a guitar. But then, too, I didn't know to look for it. But anywho, so I learned something today, which is always great for me. He tells her that he is going to sing his song called Fallen. And he's like, it's about falling in love. And so, y'all know Deanna starts, tensing up. What inspired you to write that? And he's like, basically after his mama died, he closed himself off. You know what? This reminded me so much of the same stuff that Andre said. But when his mom died, it was so painful that he just couldn't endure losing another person that was close to him. So he put up all these walls to keep himself from ever having to have someone in his life and then them go away or die. And so, of course, we know that Noah and Deanna have bonded over the loss of their parents. And so I don't know if that would be necessarily a trauma bond or if they are genuinely interested in each other. But child, how come Noah talking about he's falling? I'm like, you know what? These are the quickest fall. These folks fall in love so fast, it ain't even real on this soap. But anywho, child. So he sings his little song, and I have to say, the gentleman who plays Noah, even though for me, and I'm just speaking about my viewer experience, he needs an acting coach yesterday. But his singing was pretty decent, I have to say. It was pretty decent. Now, I don't know if he's a singer in real life or not. I could have looked it up, but I didn't, because let's not go there. Let's not go there. All I'll say is that, I was, a little bit, I did, have my little squirmy moments, because that's just how I am. But I do not enjoy this man's acting. And you know what? When he met Anita, he already met Anita. But when Anita invited him to sit in on her sessions, I'm so sorry. I had flashbacks of Maurice Johnson. Okay, for all my day oneers, okay, because even though a lot of you who are listening to me and you're with us on this conversation and recap, you may notice only a few podcast episodes, but there were tons here because we've been together since season 1. But so do y'all remember when we had Maurice Johnson as our Ted? And do y'all remember when we had just learned that Leslie was not who she had told everybody she was, and she had only Ted knew, right? And so she went to the hospital and as whoever it was that was going to jump off the roof. And she was telling him that she was going to tell Nikki, about their affair. And he was like, if you come near my wife again, I will destroy you. I told y'all that was a line that required so much emotion, and he barely gave anything. He was too concerned about trying to be cute and cool girl, okay? That's just my viewer experience. And so I kind of had that flashback today with Noah. So you're supposed to be this up-and-coming musician who's struggling. And you're meeting the Anita Dupree. You've met her before, but now she's actually inviting you to sit in on a recording session or a practice session, and you couldn't muster more excitement than what he showed. I'm sorry, y'all. This actor, what is it called? He has a lack of affect, a lack of affect. AFFECT, affect. He has a lack of affect. I think that's what it's called. Basically, get him off my screen, okay? And you know what? I know it sounds bad, but I don't mean it as bad. All I know is, and I've said it before, and I will continue to say it, if they're going to try to whitewash our soap, by the way, I don't have no plans on letting that happen. Now, of course, I can't stop it, but I do have a podcast, okay? I will say that, if they're going to bring on more and more, I don't really, let's not make it about race. I don't really care who the actors are when they bring them on. Well, let me not lie. I do care because there are too many black and struggling actresses and actors that need jobs. And we know that they struggle more in the industry than other actors. That's why Ava DuVernay had to create her company called Array to help folks get jobs, okay? So here's my thing. As I've said, if they're going to bring folks on our soap, I'm sorry, they need to be able to act, or else what's the point? I think this man playing this role needs an acting coach, or else he needs to get off this show. I'm sorry, he's boring as hell. He's just, I'm like, you know what I also was thinking today? Again, this is all my viewer experience. You may have a totally different one. Don't tell me I don't have a right to have mine, girl, okay? So y'all remember when Alex, who plays our Tomas, here recently he's been doing a much better job. Who knows, he may have gotten an acting coach because they probably told him get one or else. But anyway, I digress. But you remember how I was telling y'all in my viewer experience, it's like he was like so lacking in emotion. It's like he had the same look all the time, no matter what it was. No matter what whether it was a happy scene, and it was just, I kind of am getting that from this guy. It's like, oh my gosh. And I know he's been acting, again, this man is almost 40. He's been acting forever and a day. The bottom line is, I don't know why some of these people are coming to the soaps. Is it because they can't get jobs anywhere else, y'all? I'm just asking. So anyway. So Noah feigns, because he really wasn't, so he feigns being surprised and so excited to be able to sit in. Not only that, Anita actually said to him, and then maybe I can give you some business pointers. I'm like, I'm sorry. So anyway, so he tries to be excited, let's put it that way. And he goes and he tells, of course, Deanna and everybody, and she's happy for him. Well, everybody leaves after Vernon tells Anita, remember, we got business to take care of at the house, his house, right? And so they leave, and of course that means everybody else leaves, and then there's just Kyle and Nicole, and of course, you already know the rest, y'all. I gotta say, Kyle and Nicole, even though they've been together from our vantage point for months, okay? Although they are newly monogamous, I have to say I find them quite boring. I find this couple, for me, and again, I'm still, for me, when I look at Danny and Andre, when I look at Bill and Haley, when I look at Jacob and Naomi, I know that we have to have a balance of characters on our show, right? Not every couple can be dramatic and all those things. We have to have your run of the mill, so to speak, couple. But I just am still very disappointed that they didn't do more with Nicole's storyline. And then they fizzled it out. It's like there was just so much from my vantage point as a viewer. There was so much that could have happened with that storyline that could have spoken to divorced women who are in the exact same age range as this character. I mean, there was just so many directions. And they brought it down to her just, kissing and telling, so to speak. And then she chooses a guy and they've not, I don't know. I'm fine. I'm not interested in them. I kind of feel like I feel about Grayson and Ashley. Like, I'm not interested in them either. But that's just my viewer taste. Maybe you are excited for this couple and you're excited to see what the writers are going to give us. After Vanessa leaves, she goes back to the casino, child, and y'all know what happens. You said that you were going to, not make me scream. What did she say? You were going to, whatever it was, I was thinking, child, please, Joey. Anyway, let me hush. As my mom would say, girl, hush your mouth, okay? Let me see here, y'all. I'm just looking at my notes. Oh, well, when Deanna and Noah were getting ready to leave, he said, I'm just too amped to go home. How about we hang out at Orphe Jean's? And so they go over to Orphe Jean's, where he thanks her for the capo, or the cap, or however you pronounce it, and he holds her hand, and he thanks her, and he's looking at her lovingly. Now, you know what, y'all? Have y'all considered this? Let me tell you what I think, okay? Do y'all remember when Joey first told Randy to distract Deanna? And he said to him, don't you really think that's a job for someone who's younger? And he was like, what, you don't want to do it? And he did tell him he was uncomfortable because Doug was his best friend. Now, we know he did meet with Deanna a couple of times. He met with her once to fill her out and see what she was thinking. And he reported back that basically she still hates you, Joey, basically. But I am beginning to wonder, did Joey, because remember when Noah first met Deanna, he didn't have any money. He didn't have a job. Okay, this was before he got hired on at the free clinic. The Phoenix Street Clinic. And I am wondering if Joey actually put Noah up to approaching Deanna to distract her, because he is distracting her. And even today, when Vanessa went back to the casino, she told Joey, Deanna is so enraptured with Noah, she ain't got time to be worried about us. And Joey looked way too happy for me. And that I said, you know what? Now, I don't know how that, if that's true, how that even came about, but something ain't right. Something ain't right. And so I wonder if we'll get a flashback at some point where we see Noah met with Joey, or Noah went over to the casino and Joey said, I got a job for you. I got a job for you. I don't know. We'll see. Well, let's talk about Danny and Andre. Poor Danny and Andre. You know what, y'all? Didn't we all know this relationship would not go anywhere? That it wouldn't be long term? So here you have these two people who claim, who their real intentions in the beginning was to be 1,000% honest with each other. But Danny done had sex with Bill. Andre is now torn between Danny and Heather. Now, I have to say, I love the fact that they wrote that Andre resisted having sex with Heather and getting back, but you could tell he was tempted, right? He was tempted, and it won't be long, because Heather crazy, Heather Delulu, it ain't gonna be long, y'all, and Andre gonna be back in the bed, okay? And since Joey has somebody following her, Heather, they're gonna see that Andre is coming over to the Bowman. And we know that Bill had told Joey if something were to ever happen to him, he wanted him to take care of his family. Well, we know Bill is going to be just fine, right? But still, though, what will Joey go and tell Bill? She ain't having enough, that your ex-wife's husband is involved with somebody. Like, this is going to be very interesting. We thought maybe it would be a scenario where Danny would find out that Haley was trying to kill Bill and she would be the person to rush in to save Bill. But it might just be the other way around. Will Bill be the one to rush in and save Danny from Heather? Because Heather, we're going to have another Allison situation where we're going to see Danny, kidnapped somewhere because Heather means to have Andre. And that's just the way that is. But anyway, Danny and Andre are at home and she's telling him that, you know what? He's like, let's go. And she's like, oh, I've already told, Nicole, we're not coming. I wanted to spend the night with my husband. And so she gives him a bag and she says, I went to the toy store. They're playing with us, thinking about the adult sex toy store. Y'all know I have never heard of adult coloring books in my whole life. And I'm umpteenth years old. I have never, ever heard of this. I did not even know this existed, okay? And so I'm telling you, not only did I learn what a capo was, I learned that there are adult coloring books. Why anybody would want to color in one is beyond me, but I digress. So he's like, what coloring books? And so they're trying to color, but y'all, Danny knows something's different with Andre. And so she's like, are you still upset with me because I prioritized Bill? And you know what? I feel like Danny and Andre are doing the same dance. She tells Andre she's done with Bill, and then something happens and Danny forgets all about Andre. And so she's trying to apologize, and he says, no, I owe you an apology. And she's like, well, what did you do to make, did you have apology? And he was like, because I acted like a kid. I just drank away my sorrows. So it's like, here now these two people have these major secrets, and Dan, let me tell you something that's turning me against Andre. Here's where Andre, y'all know I love me some Andre, but this right here, the fact that he knows Heather is dangerous and he is not putting in parameters to protect Danny, it's giving me Ted vibes. And let me tell you something right now. If I have to woosah on Andre too, I don't know what I'm going to do. Because Ted knew from Giddy Up that Leslie was crazy, that she was dangerous. And instead of trying to get her the heck out of town, he did pay her $50,000 and she didn't go nowhere. But instead of going down to the police station and telling them what was going on, he did talk to Bill, and Bill was like, what do you want me to do? Why did you wait this late to come tell me? She done did all this damage now. And so here we have his nephew knowing that Heather has killed people. She's had people killed. And yet he is not going to open his mouth to make sure that the Dupree name don't get drug all up and through by Heather, or that she doesn't hurt Danny. So I'm telling y'all, I can see myself turning against Andre. All he got to do is just do one little thing, and that's it for me. That's it. He's on my naughty list. Well, y'all know how it goes with these two. It's always sex, girl. So after they apologize to each other while still lying to each other, mind you, he says, what about a night of lovemaking? Now, I got to tell y'all something. The way Carla Mosley and Sean Friedman perform their sex scenes is exactly the way sex scenes should be performed. There's no tongue. There's no nothing. I mean, if you saw the scenes today, the same way when Tamara Tooney and Clifton Davis perform their kissing scenes, there's no tongue. I'm telling y'all, that other lady is nasty, okay? The lady that be putting her tongue in folks' mouths. The lady who plays Nicole, Daphne Duplay, I'm telling you. I'm like, okay, I'm telling y'all, she's the only person I've seen on this show, except for the girl that plays Eva, right? Put her tongue in somebody's mouth. And she's putting it, I'm like, okay, that's nasty. Well, y'all, I think that's pretty much it. Child, please. Grace and... So, let me tell you. Ashley and Shanice was up at the nurse's station, okay? And they was talking and going on when Monica walked up, and she explained to them the child Bill wants to see her because he wants to talk about a horrific incident. So she's like, give me what happened so I can go in there prepared. And so Ashley and Shanice bring her up to speed that they were basically just doing their jobs. And so she's like, okay. So she goes and talks to Bill. We don't see this, okay? When she goes and talks to Bill, Naomi comes off the elevator and she says to them, if you guys get in trouble, I'm going to talk to my granddad and he'll make Bill's complaint, Bill and Haley's complaint go away, which I like that. I'm like, okay, pull rank, Naomi. Okay, pull the Dupree card, right? Wherein Shanice goes to check on a patient, and Ashley and Naomi are going to go have girls' night at her apartment. So she texts Jacob to let him know, I'm going out with Ashley to her apartment to hang out, basically love you. Wherein we see Jacob at the police station call, who we later see as Grayson. He's saying, is everything already together? And so when Ashley takes Naomi over to her apartment to hang out, turns on the light, it's Grayson and Jacob. Surprise! And Grayson explains that he made a hot justice. You know what, y'all? I'm sorry. I do not like this. Okay, I'm sorry. I find this was so boring to me. Anywho, a hot justice martini or drink or whatever it was. But Grayson is not drinking because I'm sorry, y'all. I know that Heather told oh boy that she was the impaler. Y'all, I'm sorry. Is Grayson the impaler? Until I can see Grayson mother, I don't believe Grayson got no mama child. But anyway, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not interested, I'm not interested in Grayson and Ashley. And I know I've said that a number of times, but I'm not, y'all. And I just find them quite boring. So anyway, so they're drinking, they're having a Mexico night because Jacob tells Naomi, because we haven't been able to take that Mexico vacation just yet, I wanted to give you basically a smaller version of that. So they're eating tortilla chips and they're just, and Grayson is speaking Spanish, which I love, and all those things. Y'all know, yo habla español un poquito. So the bottom line here is we had to watch that, basically. And then Naomi gave her toast, where now they're her best friends and she loves them. I'm like, okay. Well, Marcel and Leslie. So y'all, Marcel and Leslie, y'all know Leslie gave Marcel an ultimatum. Call me, she says. If you want me, prove it. Take me out. Begging him basically for attention. So Marcel responds. So they're up at the Uptowns. She came to the police station to pick him up, I suppose, child. Because y'all know she treated him like a boy toy, although that's what she told Eva he was. So anyway, he and Jacob exchange a few words, and they leave, and they come over to Uptowns. And y'all, how come Marcel he says, okay, you wanted me to to let you know how I feel about you. Why don't you move in my boat with me? Move into Sheila. And she's basically like, thank you, but no thank you. I'm not boat people. Marcel is upset. He goes to the can. He says, I got to use the can. Where he comes back and he and Leslie have this awkward silence. She's on her phone. Eva was in a booth next, and she was listening in on all of this. And when Marcel goes to the restroom before he came and sat down, she's like, Mama. Y'all know how Eva is, Mama. And so she tries to talk some sense into Leslie. Why? The only reason you don't want to go on this boat with this man is because you're just trying to stay in town for Dad, And y'all, how come Leslie looking like, that's right. So she eventually apologizes to Marcel for basically being very flippant about, his gesture, right? She's like, because I asked you to do something big and to make it known how you felt. And when you did, I shot you down. But she says she's about to go big. And how come, y'all? Leslie gets a fork in her hand, child. Leslie gets a fork, and she talks about how she's the daughter of one of the Articulate, the founding member. And she serenades Marcel. And that's all I can say about that. But I will say Marcel seemed to be impressed. And, of course, he and Leslie are probably going to go to the Bowman where she's staying at, y'all. Isaiah and Eva do. He comes to Orphe Jean's and gets her, and they go to their apartment after telling them, bye. Ted and Shanice, he gives her a box of chocolates and, so on. Y'all, Ted is trying to convince himself that he's in love with Shanice. Ted is not in love with Shanice. Ted is not. Shanice is a distraction. She's someone he likes, but he don't love her. She's just, as soon as if even he can slip his little baby toe back in the door with Nicole, and now that he knows Nicole is serious with Kyle, child, we about to see Ted get so messy it ain't even real. Well, at the party, I forgot to tell y'all this. When they were at Nicole's, Vernon did try to corner Kyle. So I understand that you and my daughter are exclusive. And Nicole puts a stop to it. She puts the kibosh. Daddy, not tonight. Well, that was pretty much the long and short of today's episode 150. Y'all, we got 100 more to go. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I don't know if I'm gonna make it, y'all. I'm telling you, even though I I made the choice to watch season 2 because of the cancer diagnosis storyline. I have to say, I didn't expect to be struggling as much as I am struggling in season 2. I'm struggling to stay excited about the show. I'm struggling to care. I am going to be more consistent with my recaps, but consistent for me means I am just trying to show up. By the way, I won't be recapping on Wednesdays going forward because Wednesdays are generally my late days for work, and it's just too much, y'all. It's just too much, and I have to take care of myself and make sure that I'm not trying to do too much. But I will say I don't know about y'all, but I am struggling this season. I really am. And today, because I watched it back on Paramount Plus today, when I saw, we're at 150, because I remember Carla Mosley, our Danny, saying that season 2, they had been greenlit for 250 episodes. I was like, 100 more episodes. I just don't know if I can do it. But then, of course, I am going to do it because I do want to support the show. And I know that we got more sweeps seasons coming up. And so that's always high drama. But again, I say the same thing I've been saying, is that I really think for a soap that premiered in this century and in the late, not the late, but in the 2020s, that it really, they needed to really take a different writing tact than they've taken. I don't want to beat a dead horse. But for me, I'm doing my best to stay interested. I'm just being honest with you guys. Well, if you don't like it, then I didn't say I didn't like it. I never said I didn't like it. I just said that some days are quite boring. Well, that's the way it's supposed to be. I know that's the way it's supposed to be. Back up, girl. Okay. But anyway, so yeah. But I will tell you, we've got more boring couples. Kyle and Nicole. Some need to go on with Deanna and Noah before too long. Okay. So I don't know. Our show, for me, y'all, it really needs more drama. And again, I don't mean the nasty, messy, flip tables over drama. It just needs more drama. And more conflict. I don't know. I need to see some infighting with the Duprees. Like, everybody's not perfect, but, and I know, I remember reading somewhere where they were saying, somebody who worked on the set was saying the reason that we don't get more drama is that Michelle Valjean, she doesn't like drama. And I'm like, well, what the heck she doing writing this? No. But they basically just meant that she has a certain way that she wants to present this Dupree family. And I understand what she's trying to do. She's trying not to play into all the stereotypes, but I don't know. They have a lot of ancillary characters that they could use to bring in more drama. So yeah, so I will talk to you guys on Thursday, and we'll be recapping 151. Listen, tell us about your viewer experience in the comments, and we'll be hanging out tomorrow. Bye, guys.